Culture isn't just for big corporations. In fact, for small and medium businesses, culture might be even more critical. Because when you have a small team, every person's attitude affects everyone else. Today, we're going to talk about 5 culture mistakes that might be limiting your business growth, and more importantly, how to fix them. So today's focus: no training and development, culture of denial, unclear job roles, fear of risk-taking, and forgotten celebrations. Let's start with a mistake that cost businesses more money than almost any other: the lack of training and development. Here's what I hear all the time. We're too busy for training. They'll learn as they go. We can't afford it right now. But here's the expensive truth. You're already paying for training. You're just paying in mistakes, rework, and lost opportunities. Let me share a story that really drives this home. I worked with a service business owner who was spending about 20 hours a week fixing his team's mistakes. He was correcting errors, redoing work, apologizing to clients. Know what we discovered? He was spending more time fixing mistakes than it would have taken to train properly in the first place. And here's what we did. We created what I call micro-training moments. Instead of trying to find full days for training, we broke it into 15-minute daily sessions. So here's what it looks like. They do a morning huddle for 5 minutes, and then they focus on a skill for 5 minutes, and then they do Q&A for 5 minutes. But here's the key. We made it consistent. Every day, same time, no excuses. Within 3 weeks, something interesting happened. Those 20 hours of fixing mistakes dropped to less than 5. But the real breakthrough came when the team started teaching each other. Because that's when you know training is working. When knowledge starts spreading on its own. Now this only works if you avoid mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is the culture of denial. People ignoring obvious problems. You know what this sounds like. That's just how our industry is. Everyone has these problems. It's not that bad. Just ignore the ceiling falling around me. Here's what makes denial so dangerous. You can't fix a problem you won't acknowledge. It's a cycle. Issues appear. An excuse is made. The problem grows. A bigger excuse is needed. Now let me share something that happened with an accounting firm. They were losing 1 team member every 3 months. Their response? That's normal in accounting. Nobody stays. Until I showed them something interesting. Their competitors were keeping staff for an average of 4 years. This wasn't an industry problem. This was their problem. So we did something radical. We asked their team one simple question. What makes you think about leaving? Here's the real issues we saw. There was an unclear growth path. There was no feedback. There were unspoken expectations. Now, when we first asked them, at first, there was an uncomfortable silence. Nobody wanted to speak up. But when they finally started talking, it wasn't about money. It wasn't about the work. It was about feeling stuck, about not knowing where they stood or where they were heading. The solution started with one simple practice. Monthly one-on-one conversations, not performance reviews, career discussions. But here's what made it work. This was the framework that we used. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And how can we help? They stopped denying the problem and started owning the solution. The result? In the next year, they only lost one person, and that was to retirement. Now this revealed another problem they'd been denying, which leads us to mistake number 3, neglecting job descriptions. Now I know what you're thinking. Job descriptions? Those dusty documents nobody looks at? But here's the thing. I'm not talking about those generic HR-style documents. I'm talking about role clarity, knowing exactly who owns what. Some of the common issues that we see are tasks are falling through the cracks. There's a duplication of effort, and there's confusion about authority. So let me share something that happens all the time. A client needs something done. 3 people think somebody else is handling it. Nobody actually does it. Or worse, 2 people do the same thing differently. Sound familiar? Here's what works. We create what I like to call success profiles instead of job descriptions. So what are the elements of a success profile? The key responsibilities. Who has the authority in making decisions? What are the metrics for success? And what's the growth path to move forward? But here's the crucial part. We let the team write them. Because who knows the job better than the person doing it? We ask 3 simple questions. What do you actually do each day? What decisions can you make on your own? And how do you know you're doing a great job? It creates clear ownership, faster decisions, and less confusion. Now, this only works if you avoid mistake number 4. Now, mistake number 4 is failing to support risk-taking. You know what kills innovation faster than anything else? The phrase, "That's not how we do things here." Because here's what happens. I call it the fear cycle. A new idea emerges, but there's a fear of mistakes, so they play it safe, and nothing improves. Let me share a story about a plumbing company that transformed their business. They had a junior technician who suggested a new scheduling system. Now, the old guard resisted. "We've used paper schedules for 20 years. But the owner did something different. Instead of shutting it down, he said something really powerful. "Let's try it for 2 weeks. If it doesn't work, we'll go back." Notice what he did there. He made it safe to fail. He created a small scale, a limited time, and a clear backup plan. You know what happened? The new system worked so well, other team members started bringing in their own ideas. But here's the real breakthrough. Even the ideas that didn't work sparked conversations that led to better solutions. Actually, in their first attempt at the digital scheduling, it failed. But it actually led to discovering a better system they hadn't discovered. See, it's an innovation culture. We have more suggestions, better engagement, continuous improvement, and failed ideas spark winners. Which brings us to our final mistake. Mistake number 5, neglecting to celebrate. Now, I'm not talking about throwing a party every time someone shows up to work. I'm talking about acknowledging progress, effort, and growth. Here's what typically happens. A project gets completed, we move on to the next task, and there's no recognition, so motivation drops. Let me share something that changed my perspective entirely on celebration. I was working with a service business where team morale was low, despite good results. The owner's response? "But I pay them well." Then we discovered something interesting. People weren't leaving for more money. They were leaving because they felt like cogs in a machine. Every achievement, big or small, just led to more work. So we started something simple. Weekly wins were being shared. We shared monthly milestones that were achieved, quarterly achievements, and personal growth moments. But here's the key. We made it specific and genuine. Not just good job, but the way you handled that difficult client showed real growth from 6 months ago. And we celebrated effort, not just results, because sometimes the biggest growth happens in the trying. The change was remarkable, not just in morale, but in actual business results. People started taking on bigger challenges. Why? Because they knew their efforts would be noticed. It created higher retention, more initiative, better customer feedback, increased referrals. But here's what surprised everyone. The celebrations didn't just recognize success. They started creating more success. Because when you celebrate progress, you create momentum. And momentum, that's what transforms good businesses into great ones. Now let's bring all these pieces together. The 5 culture mistakes that limit growth: skipping proper training, living in denial, unclear job roles, fear of risk-taking, and forgetting to celebrate. Now here's the good news. Each of these mistakes has a flip side, an opportunity. Training creates confidence. Honesty enables solutions. Clarity drives performance. Risk-taking sparks innovation, and celebration builds momentum. Remember, culture isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create one decision at a time. And it starts with small changes. Want to learn more about building a stronger team culture? Click the link in the description below for your free guide. And let me know in the comments which of these culture mistakes resonates most with your business. I read and respond to every comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.